Mr. Conservative, Ronald Reagan. What else has Donald Trump done? Look at this. He's taken the most extensive steps right out of the box to deal with the border, as he did in his first term. The establishment of a physical wall and other barriers at the U.S. borders, he's going to complete it, deterring and preventing the entry of undocumented individuals into the United States. This is what he's announced and implementing within literally 24 hours of taking the oath. Detaining aliens apprehended on suspension of violating federal or state law, that is, undocumented migrants, and removing them promptly. Pursuing criminal charges against undocumented migrants and those who facilitated their unlawful presence in the U.S., notably ending the practice of catch and release. Enacting federal-state partnerships to enforce these immigration policies, obtaining complete operational control of the borders of the United States. This is what he's directed the United States government to do. That includes deploying sufficient personnel to the borders. He's just ordered active duty military to the border. Terminating parole programs for Cubans, Haitians, Nicaraguans, and Venezuelans. Why? Well, communists and terrorists and revolutions. That's why. Utilizing advanced vetting techniques to determine familiar relationships and biometric scanning for all individuals encountered or apprehended by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. He's declared a national emergency at the southern border of the United States in order to put military personnel there. Now, what else has he done? He's involved in the biggest deportation of illegal aliens since Dwight Eisenhower. Dwight Eisenhower. Oh yes, the great Dwight Eisenhower, who everybody praises. They praise him as sort of a moderate, centrist Republican president. The left points to him all the time. Can't we have an Eisenhower type, such a uniter? Okay? Not so much. In the 1950s, as many as 3 million illegal migrants had walked and waded northward over a period of several years for jobs in California, Arizona, Texas, and points beyond, writes the Christian Science Monitor. Well, Ike was obsessed with removing them. He said the rise in illegal border crossings by Mexican, his word, wetbacks, not my word, to a current rate of more than 1 million cases a year has been accompanied by a curious relaxation in ethical standards extending all the way from the farmer exploiters of this contraband labor to the highest levels of the federal government. Years later, the late Herbert Brunel Jr., who was Eisenhower's first attorney general, said in an interview with this writer, the writer of this piece, that the president had a sense of urgency about illegal immigrants when he took office. America, quote, was faced with a breakdown in law enforcement on a very large scale, said the former attorney general. When I say large scale, I mean hundreds of thousands were coming in from Mexico every year without restraint. The orders came straight from the top, from Eisenhower, the new president. He had put a former West Point classmate, General Joseph Swing, in charge of immigration enforcement. General Swing's fast-moving campaign soon secured America's borders, an accomplishment no other president has equaled. Illegal migration had dropped 95% by the late 1950s. So what Trump is proposing is not radical. It's common sense, as he puts it. And when he says common sense, for many of us it means conservative, because conservative is common sense. What about